Legend Total War here, and today we've got a rating your one-man doom stack, this time covering Manfred von Karstein, and he doesn't have the Sword of Cain. So firstly looking at what equipment he does have, he's got the Unholy Sword of Power, so his unique weapon there. He's got the Armor of Tempelhof, Talisman of Preservation, Staff of Damnation, and a Potion of Strength. I don't think that Potion of Strength is particularly useful, but maybe he just didn't have anything else to put on there. So looking at the resistances that he does have, he's at 60% magical resistance, 55% physical resistance, and 27% ward save. So, if I'm not mistaken, that means he's at 83% physical resistance and 87% magic resistance. So very close to the resistance cap. I guess he would need to get the Sword of Cain if he wanted to get to the absolute maximum, but you don't really need to with a flying spellcaster that's really fast like Manfred. Like, this speed is really high. He's also got 30% missile resistance on top of that, so any of the missile attacks done by the High Elves here should be at the resistance cap. Now, you might be wondering if it's a good idea to go Hellsteed or Dragon with Manfred, and I totally agree with what this guy's done with going with the Hellsteed. Dragons are definitely very useful, but I also think that dragons are also one of the most overrated mounts in the game. They have a lot of weaknesses, especially over a Hellsteed. Now, dragons might be technically stronger than Hellsteeds, but they're also slower and they're bigger. They're a bit derpy with what they can do when they get shot, so they're very easy targets. So while you might have more health and more killing power as a dragon, you'll also be more vulnerable as a dragon, especially against extremely long-range missile factions like the High Elves. If you're going to go Dragon, you're best off going Dragon with like a faction that's got no missile units whatsoever. Then a Dragon's totally fine. Or if you need it for the Siege Attacker. But in this situation here, totally agree with getting the Hellsteed. In terms of how he's been leveled up, he has put 2 points into his mount. So he's got them, the Hellsteed and the Dragon. So, going up against High Elves here, it's Yvres. They got some Mistwalkers, they got a Knights of Torgaval, there's a Dragon in here, lots of archers. I don't think the heroes are going to cause me too much problems because they're mostly on foot. So let's jump into the battle here and see how it goes. But yeah, any one-man doom stack that doesn't have the Sword of Cain is always going to be rated higher, especially if it does a good job, over ones that do have the Sword of Cain, especially if their faction doesn't really do well with the Sword of Cain. Now, the Vampire accounts are actually one of the few factions in the game that is totally fine to pick up the Sword of Cain, because the public order penalty is not that big of a deal for them. Their public order is quite controllable, especially late campaign. Their income is, they're one of the highest income factions in the game, so money's not that big of a concern for them. And they usually end up with huge amount of supply line penalties anyway, so additional 10% on top of that's not that big of a deal. And everybody hates them by default anyway, even other vampire accounts, so minus 40 relations to all factions doesn't really matter. So the penalties from the Sword of Cain for vampire accounts don't really matter that much. Alright, now we've attacked just one lord here, so what I'm going to do, and I wouldn't normally do this, it largely just depends on how difficult I think the battle is going to be. I'm going to let them get set up, so that'll only take a moment, because if I just flew over there and cast a Wind of Death, half their army will be destroyed straight away. So let's have a little bit more of a look at Manfred here. It looks like he's put a whole bunch of points into the Law of Death, so it doesn't seem like he's gone down the red line or the blue line at all, which is totally fine if you want to make a one-man doom stack like this, but I would say that the Law of Death magic is unnecessary. So, I mean, you wouldn't have to put a lot of points into it, but I just don't think it's worth anything. So, in terms of the vampire magic, he didn't get the Gaze of Nagash. Now, I'm not necessarily endorsing you do this, but if you do get the Gaze of Nagash, you will be able to do the Unlimited Magic exploit, which I've shown in another video. But if we don't have it, and we don't have a Ruby Ring of Ruin, so Manfred, in this one instance here, cannot use the Unlimited Magic exploit. Another thing is that if you have a Dragon Breath attack, that can also enable it, which, again, we're not on Dragon. But that's fine, because I don't really want to use the Unlimited Magic exploit for one-man Doomstack videos. Alright, so they're pretty much set up over here. I'm just going to go up there, cast a Wind of Death, and we'll just get started with this right away. So first thing I want to do is get rid of all their missile units. Then get rid of the flying units. Oh, I did say I'd let them get set up there. If I shot them there, I'd feel like that's a bit unfair. Let's just wait a little bit longer. So those spells there are doing nothing. I want to be a little bit more fair to them because I feel like this is going to be really one-sided. I can see how powerful Manfred is. I've used Manfred as a one-man Doomstack before. He's very, very powerful, so... Alright, so what we're going to do here, I'm going to cast a unit of zombies there. Just to try to tie down some of their units. But it probably won't last any more than a couple of seconds. Just kind of hope we hit something with that. Oh, it seemed to curve right at the last moment there, so I didn't actually get a very good cast in. That kind of sucked. But we've got loads of Winds of Magic, so it's not that big of a deal. But yeah, unfortunately my initial attack there kind of sucked. Alright. Casting zombies on Eagle Claw Bolt Throwers is good. AI can be a bit derpy during these choke point battles, but it'll be fine. Alright, let's lure these Knights of Torgaval away from their missile units and just get into a duel with them and see how Manfred does. So looking at their stats, yeah, our stats are way higher. So just lure them away so we're not getting shot at the same time. So even though it was getting shot, it still managed to mostly get rid of that Eagle Claw Bolt Thrower. And now, because of the way we're positioned, their archers and artillery are hitting their own Knights of Torgaval more than us. So, Knights of Torgaval are an extremely high hit point unit, so the fact that he hasn't gotten rid of it straight away is fine. Each hit is doing... I think they're mostly getting... I'm not sure how much damage he's doing per hit. Yeah, we're up to nearly 1,000 damage there. Because I think that a lot of that is actually getting hit by their own troops. I think we're hitting them for about 300 damage at pop. Hang on. Anytime it goes down by a big number... Yeah, it's about 500 damage a pop. Okay, that's pretty good. And that's after the Potion of Strength has expired. So they're goofing around over here. That's fine. We're not really taking much damage. We can keep doing this all day. Manfred's barely taking anything. Of course, with the Sword of Cain, you take him down a lot quicker. Could use Van Hell's Dance Macabre. Yeah, why not? Just to help bypass a little bit more of their melee defense. Although, it's only a 32. Actually, you know what? It's probably wasted. I think we're essentially at our cap for beating them up. Because, yeah, once you've got, like, I don't know what the exact number is, but let's just say it's about 60 points above their melee defense, you're essentially at 90% chance to hit, and it can't go any higher than that. Every unit has a small chance to dodge a shot, even if they have 0 melee defense. That's it, eat that ass.
Surpassed Nagash.
Yeah, they definitely got hit by their own missile unit there. Good job, Manfred. Well done. Okay. Let's get rid of this other Eagle Claw Bolt Thrower. The other one's over there, but they're not on their unit. Oh, look at this over here. I kind of feel like this is a bit unfair, but you know what? I've given them time to set up. If they want to fuck around, that's up to them now. Should have done it that way, actually. And that kind of makes up for our first shitty spell. Oh, I didn't actually cast the unit. One over here. That might not work, because the Sentinels of Astarel there are pretty good melee fighters. Yeah, those Shem's Burning Gazes are doing nothing. Alright, next thing I want to take out is a dragon, but I gotta keep him away from the missile units. Because even at max missile resistance, you can still take a lot of damage. Yeah, I didn't think that was going to do a ton. But at least it's distracted them long enough that the dragon is coming over here so we can fight it. Maybe if I bring it over this way, into the impassable territory. Yeah. They're not going for it. See how that goes. With Wind of Death, it's usually important to overcast it, because like Wind of Death, regular casted, 17 Winds of Magic, overcasted, it's 21 Winds of Magic. So for 4 extra Winds of Magic, you get double the power. It's worth it. A lot of spells in this game, it's not worth overcasting, but Wind of Death is one of the few that you should overcast. You don't have to, but you'll get a lot more use out of it. Let's get rid of some of these heroes since they're isolated. But be mindful not to get caught by the cavalry.
I hunger. Swift as death's wings. Preternatural. Mortal scum. Swift as death's wings. Preternatural.
Usually with Arcane Conduit type abilities, you want to do them both at the same time. Would have been nice to do another Wind of Death through there, but we don't have the magic. Oh, that's actually... Okay. Well, they can only do that once, and they're not really making very good use out of it, so good for them. Here you go. Have one of these.
I am the greatest sorcerer.
Yeah, I didn't think any of their melee infantry was going to be a concern at all. Okay. Could use the regenerating flesh, but that restores 1,500 health, and we are not at that stage of damage yet. So that ability comes from the Armor of Templar. He doesn't have Isabella's trait, but yeah, we didn't need it. Alright, so they're not on their artillery anymore, so they're not really that much of a threat.
Harvest them, for and life. Swift as death's wings. Preternatural. Swift as death's
Thing is though, with this particular ability here, is that it's got a way shorter cooldown than regular Arcane Conduit, so you can just use it way more often.
preternatural.
Not seeing anything too dangerous now with their missile attack, so we should be fine to just go into melee with the Moon Dragon. It's not going to do much to us. And that dragon's going down pretty damn quickly. We've also got some fire resistance here, so if we weren't already at the resistance... You know what the funny thing is here, with the dragon? Since we're not at the physical resistance cap, because it does flaming attacks, it actually pushes up our resistances against it, so that's actually a weakness that it's got against us here. Like, it's doing less damage than what it would if it didn't have flaming attacks. Because, yeah, we just add on an additional 25%. So, yeah, that dragon's useless. In fact, I'd say that the Great Eagle might actually be able to inflict more damage than the Moon Dragon. Because at least it does physical damage, but it doesn't have any other modifier that we block. Although we can kill the Great Eagle a lot faster. I mean, that's just one unit there. But they're shooting us at point blank range, so back off.
Swift as death's wings. Preternatural. Swift as death's wings. Preternatural.
Just trying to think how I could line them up so that we could just, with one cast, get rid of all three of them. They're lined up this way. Here we go. Oh, now they're moving. Here we go, here we go. There's 2 of them in line there. Now, stay still, Manfred, stay still. You don't want them turning around. Looks like I'm going to get 2 out of 3 of them. Cool. Alright, now we can pop this down. Yeah, all we're doing is knocking them around there.
All life must end.
Yep, was able to do about 500 damage per shot to that dragon. It's pretty good.
Preternatural. Swift as death's wings. Preternatural.
Okay, I think I might try for like a big wind of death by landing near them and trying to get them to come at us this way. So if I stay close to here, I should be able to just fly up from there. Yeah, here they come. Just gotta wait for them to just get one really good wind of death ready to go. Plus, if I stay within here, another big advantage of the Hellsteed, they can't really hit us very well because we're not that big. I mean, they are hitting us, but they're also hitting their own units. They'd be a lot more accurate if there was if we were on a dragon. Okay, here we go. Here we go. I don't know if I was going to get as many kills as I could have, but... Oh yeah, hit the... did a bit of damage. Right, let's get him out of there. But one downside of the Hellsteed over the dragon is pushing power. Oh, there we go. They can't push infantry out of the way quite as easily. That eagle is still hanging around, just go finish that off. Yep, good enough. Alright, now let's put them a bit more to the test in melee, because most of their army's been destroyed now. Let's see how long it can go in combat against, like, Dragon Princes, which... They don't do flaming attacks, so nobody did that. What's this do? Okay, that's fine. Alright, things start to get dicey. We should be able to escape just by clicking over here. Okay, now what I want to do, put some zombies there, just so they attack them, so I can just do one big wind of death, and possibly get the army losses on them. Doesn't matter if I hit my own units. So yeah, in melee here, we are just not taking much damage. So Eltharian's in there as well. So we've used up 100 out of the 300 Winds of Magic reserves that we've had. I'm not sure about that Eltharian ability. I feel like that actually inflicts friendly fire. I'm not sure though. Also, while being in melee, we've got the Sword of Unholy Power active, so we're generating even more Winds of Magic. We've essentially got 3 arcane conduits going at the moment. Just want them to take this a bit more seriously. Come over here so that we can Wind of Death them. They're not taking it seriously, which is what always happens when you've only got one unit. They're always constantly looking for your other units which don't exist on the battlefield.
Attack the mortals. Bring death.
Which means we're probably not going to get any more amazing Winds of Death. Yeah, that's not very good. Hang on, they're coming back around. I'll just wait for that.
Rocks. Very well.
If I can time this just right, I'll hit them as well.
Witness true power.
Yep. And there's the army losses. And Manfred had plenty of, well, some regen left to go.
We surpass Nagash. Blood kiss.
Kind of feel like I want to take out Eltharion. Also, I'm not sure if he's already got Eltharion's trait, so after this battle we might get another trait. No, all he's doing is pushing him off the edge there. Nah, it doesn't matter. We don't need to continue beyond this point anyway. Just gotta get rid of the Sentinels of Astarul. Sorry, Spire Guard of Toria Vrest, because they're unbreakable. Yeah, Wind of Death is not amazing at wiping out units completely. So you don't want to do it... You want to do it on fresh units, not units that are already damaged, ideally. You know, gotta get rid of these guys somehow. We're actually regenerating while fighting them, so... They just can't inflict any damage on us. I guess what I could do... Spirit Leech. It's not ideal, but it's okay at finishing off some of these units just to speed things up a bit. The thing is, you've got Spirit Leech by default, so you didn't need to put any points into that at all to use it. And there we go, we finished at full health. I would say that that was better than what Vlad was able to do. Even though Vlad went up against more forces, if Manfred, this particular Manfred, had gone up against that army, I think we could have done... I don't know, like, Vlad beat the crap out of them as well. But the big thing with Vlad is that he had the Sword of Cain, and he was on foot, so I couldn't pick and choose what targets to go for. That was the great thing about Manfred. And also, Manfred generates way more winds of magic. I'd say that he was actually better than Vlad. The big thing that lets Vlad down is the fact that he's just on foot. You know, just can't kill that fast. Compared to Manfred. And, you know, pick off key targets. None of this matters. Alright, so let's have a look at how he's skilled them up and look at some of the traits that he's achieved.
Thine right is mine.
Oh wow, he's like traveled everywhere. Alright, so let's have a look here. So he's got Throt's trait, Throg's trait, Gore Drenched of course, Greenskinner, yeah. Ungrim. Katep, that's a good one for extra winds of magic, not that he really needs it. He got Nakai's trait, really, that's good. That is really good. That's the difficult one for you to get, because you gotta travel a long distance for that. Luther Harkon, yep. Teclis, cool. Took out Tretch, so the extra speed, yep, that's good. Malekith, not essential. Yep, that's very much essential. Physical resistance. Krokgar, yep. Imric, oh, he's also got Snitch, which I don't know if he really needs that one. Having Stalk, I don't know. It's okay, I guess. Mel's Darkblade, yeah, a bit of extra damage. Hellebron's good. Gungor and Gotrek. So, we did defeat Eltharion, but we didn't actually get his trait. He's at the trait cap. So yeah, if I was to switch out one of his traits that he's achieved for Eltharion, because that is very useful, especially considering, I think, he's got like a temporary amount of physical resistance. So once that's expired, you're going to want more missile resistance. Because at the moment, the missile resistance, you only need like 5%. Oh, no. Like 7% to hit max resistance for both magical and missile. Magical and physical, I mean. But once that expires, you'll want that extra, was it 10%, 15% that you get from, I can't remember exactly how much, from Eltharion. But yeah, you probably want to get rid of, I mean, not that you can, but I would say Immortal Unbeloved. You don't really need Frenzy, not really. Other ones that you probably don't really need Deathmaster Snitch. That's not a big deal. You got a lot of bonus versus large ones. Yeah, bonus versus large 33. That's very useful. That's how we're able to take out like the Knights of Torqueval and the Dragon quite easily. So that's really useful. In terms of skills, let's see. Hellsteed, Zombie Dragon. Yep, I agree with that. Lawmaster of Death. Nope. Yep. Get all the vampire magic. So yeah. In regard to here, I don't necessarily... You didn't get the Curse of Undeath. I don't think you should put 2 points into Van Hell's Dance Macabre. What I would have done was put 1 point into Curse of Undeath and 1 point into Gaze of Nagash. Because, yeah, this spell here, I don't really think it's that, especially if you're making a one-man Doomstack, you don't really need it. As for all of the stuff here, like, I really only use Spirit Leech, and you just get that by default. So, I wouldn't ever use any of these spells. Like, Fate of Vizuna, it's just too expensive. Purple Sign is inferior to Wind of Death. Grave Ward, yep, good choice. Going down the red line is kind of difficult with Manfred just because you only get 39 points to distribute and he's got some of his skills. You don't have to go down the blue line, but getting a lightning strike, you know, helps a little bit. But anyway, overall, I'd probably give this 10 out of 10. There's really no downsides to it. If you want to go for a siege, super easy. All you gotta do is just switch his mount. Like, it's just really, really good. Even when the Mathland's Blessing expires, Manfred will still be super strong. And he is unbreakable. Finding Gotrik's trait can be a big pain in the ass. So you either got super lucky with that, or you were diligent and just tried to find it wherever he might be. It looks like you have your spies out everywhere, so that's really good. But yeah, I see no downsides to this. There's very few armies in the game that he wouldn't be able to handle. So even like probably like the big thing that I can think of that would give him cause to struggle would be a Rite of Primeval Glory army. That'd be about it. I mean, he's got a lot of bonus versus large. It's just that a Rite of Primeval Glory army would be quite difficult to deal with. But you bring the dragon and maybe you'd be able to handle it, I guess. Anyway, that's the end of this one, guys. Let me know what you think of this one as a one-man Doomstack. I think this is pretty much on the same sort of tier as Techless. Maybe not quite as good of a spellcaster, but definitely like a little bit better in melee. And the fact that he's got just loads and loads of regen, I suppose so does Techless as well. Anyway, that's the end of this one. Appreciate you guys, and I'll see you next time, fuckers. Bye.